All right, everybody, welcome back to the Lion's Pit podcast. I am your host, Nick Gomez. With me today is the one and only Eric Bumpus, stay-at-home dad, entrepreneur, online coach, jack of all trades. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Life couldn't be better. My family's healthy. I'm healthy. And I live in the city that has a community like no other with Austin.
Oh, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I talk with I have a good friend, Catherine, that is also... has relocated here from Michigan. And we're like, man, we are so lucky to live here. Like, this is such a cool city. There's so much going on. It's so pretty. The weather, for the most part, is pretty awesome. It can be brutally hot, can get pretty damn cold, but for the most part, it's pretty freaking sweet. And what a fun city to be in. And what a fun time to be in this city.
Yes, it is a time like no other. My kids do BJJ, and Austin happens to be the mecca of BJJ.
It's the hot spot right now, man.
The hot spot.
You got a little cauliflower ear?
I do. I wrestled for years. I coached for years.
Okay.
Austin is the mecca in the world.
Yeah.
And then we're slowly becoming the fittest city in the world as well. We have all these influencers coming out here. They want to be part of this community. And so, yeah, we're super fortunate to be part of this.
Yeah, without a doubt. And me coming from like my MMA background, I came out here right around the same time that like jujitsu started to get like bigger and bigger. You look at Gordon Ryan coming in and then B-Team coming in and, Danaher and all those guys. It's like, what a sweet time to be here. And it's only a matter of time before like full on MMA just blows up here because you're going to get guys that are going to start traveling here to train with those guys. I mean, you look at Gordon Ryan, he had been going to Albuquerque to train with John Jones. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before people come out here to train with him because again, he's the GOAT, like an active living legend.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of growth going on. I know my kids go to Tim Kennedy's gym up in Cedar Park.
Gracie Humaida?
Yes, exactly. And it was coached by Giancarlo. Actually just said this morning that he's going to be opening up his own gym.
Oh, wow.
And so there's just this huge want and desire for this little tiny city in the United States, with Austin. And BJJ is becoming the mecca in the city. It's amazing stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. The MMA is going to come here. Absolutely. It's an eventuality. I'm surprised we don't have things going on already. Well, I guess we did have a few UFC MMA events. But,
we had a couple, I went to the last one. It was Beneil Dariush versus Armin Sarukian.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the main event, and Beneil got knocked out bad. I went to that one. I forget who the one was.
I really wanted to go to that arena too. It was expensive.
Yeah.
But
I was fortunate to get gifted a ticket. Yeah. And the one before that was supposed to have Cowboy Cerrone and Jim Miller.
That's right. Yep.
They ended up, I forget why that fight got pulled, but they ended up redoing it in Vegas. A little while after that. But yeah, there's things popping off here for sure. And you look at camps like 10th Planet has a lot of young fighters that are looking good.
A lot of good guys.
And that's
Kingsway with Gordon Ryan, man. They're bringing up some of the B teams out here. We have it all.
B team just switched to Simple Man Martial Arts. That's right. So then now they're doing like a full MMA camp. I see Dallas Dodd over there doing some striking. They seem to be partnering up with I want to say Ambush Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the head coach from Ambush over there.
Ambush is up at Hamada too. My kids actually took a class there, but yeah, it's a good place.
I know Tim used to do some Ambush Muay Thai.
Yep.
It's a good, I went there when I first moved out here. I was living in New Braunfels and I would come up and I'd work at On It, now Correct. And to kill time, like sometimes I'd go up north to Ambush, but it was just so far. Yeah. I was like, this is so much driving in one day because then I'd have to go back to
do it every day,
back to New Braunfels. Yep. And the only MMA camp, air quotes, in New Braunfels was this place that was, bless their hearts, they're trying. But I went in there and I could have coached. And I'm not, I love Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I've trained Muay Thai for 7 or 8 years now. I've had a couple fights. Looks like I might be fighting again.
Nice.
Soon.
Good for you.
Yeah, they
put it out there, man.
Absolutely. There's a promotion called Coalition Muay Thai. And they're really blowing up. Yeah. They've had one in San Antonio. They've had one in Houston. And it's like traditional Muay Thai. They have like the super annoying like Thai flutes playing in the background, and they're blessed.
I love that stuff. The cultural stuff that goes with it. It's amazing.
It's an art.
Are you watching the show? There's the Physical 100 on Netflix. Anyways, it takes all these different athletes and puts them all together. It's great if you haven't seen it on Netflix. I'm sure you'd love it.
Physical 100.
Yes,
okay.
It's Physical 100. This is the 3rd season that's coming out, but it's got different countries. Yeah, it just came out with the new season, but it takes all these cultures and all these different sports and throws them together in athletics. it's so much fun to watch if you're like me
Yeah.
and you love that stuff. But I love the culture, with the Muay Thai. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I grew up wrestling and in these different MMAs 20 years ago when they were really distinctive. And now they're all kind of becoming the same thing as a sport. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the early UFC fights, it's truly like specialist versus specialist.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why
and that's all
BJJ
gone
became so
away.
big here.
Yeah.
BJJ became so big because Hoist Gracie was the smallest guy on the roster and just dominating. And everyone's like, what the hell is this Brazilian
what is this?
jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
He's wearing pajamas and like breaking people's arms.
Seeing the evolution is absolutely phenomenal. You got for BJJ, they became the best. And now it's like, okay, well, BJJ, when I learned BJJ, it was MMA style. It wasn't sport BJJ. So it was like, okay, well, you can't do certain things because you're going to hit in the face. And so over time, we've learned these things are good and these things are okay. But I love to see the amalgamation of all these different sports and actually become its own sports. And I still think we're kind of still in its infancy.
Absolutely.
I don't think we've seen the best of the best that'll be in 20 years.
No, I think it's only now starting to show actual athletes.
Professionals.
Yeah,
MMA.
like you're starting to see guys like, they grew up playing football, basketball, whatever, and now they're getting into MMA versus it used to just be who's the toughest guy in the ring.
Yep.
And now you're seeing like actual athletes get into
growing
it.
up from
like,
young ages.
We have this kid, Austin Hines at 10th Planet. He's 17 and he's about to have his 4th fight. He's 3-0 and he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 4.
Yeah.
And he's undefeated. He's nasty. I told him, I was like, all right, because his next fight's for the 125 title.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, win the title and I'll get you on the podcast.
Amazing. 17, dude.
17.
I have a 16-year-old and he's been doing wrestling since he was about 10 years old. I couldn't imagine him in the ring fighting right now. It's
terrifying.
In a year. Now me as a 17-year-old, I could have definitely done it as a wrestler.
but now you're a dad.
Now I'm a dad. And I was like, when they went out there and competed in jiu-jitsu, it was like, you think you're nervous to actually do it, a sport, having a child do it, like don't break their arm, don't break their neck, all these things that go in your head and all you want them to do is have a good time and be out there. When he got his first win, dude, I have it on my phone. I saved it like a million times.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling, but oh man, the anxiety and the stress that goes in.
Imagine.
I would much rather fight myself any day of the week.
Absolutely. I've always felt like wrestlers have such a significant advantage.
Physicality.
The physicality, but also like the culture of the one-on-one.
Yes.
You grew up in that one-on-one. Like me being a baseball player and a little bit of football in high school, like it's always a team sport. There are moments where it's 1v1.
But it's
not
You're always
the
thinking
moment.
Team. Best for the team.
Yeah, what's best for the team. And there are a lot of moments where if you fail, a teammate can pick you up. Or if your teammate fails, you can whatever.
But not in wrestling.
Not in MMA. Not in wrestling. Not in jiu-jitsu.
And that's the part that I loved about those sports. I did all the team sports, but I didn't really like them. And that was why, is because I had to rely on other people to do their jobs. And I preferred the MMA, the wrestling. Like, I know that it falls on me. If something goes right, it's me. If I need to correct something, it's me. And so that's why I love those sports.
Yeah, I agree. I've always loved like I've never been one to like search out the spotlight, but I definitely don't shy away from it. Like I love being in the moment.
I want the moment.
Yeah, I love being in the moment. I love having that weight on my shoulders. I love,
Yes.
like I said, the saying, pressure is a privilege.
Yes.
But yeah, because something great is expected of you.
Yes.
And that's how I look at it. And it's not for everyone. And I don't mean that like in an insulting way, but like
but it should be.
It should be.
I wish everybody
I agree,
did.
Dude. And that kind of goes with my philosophy of strength and conditioning. Even with like my Gen Pop clients, like I tell them like everyone should train like an athlete.
Yes.
Like you want to move better longer, train like an athlete.
Absolutely. And it's great to set goals. We're such goal-oriented animals. Like we want to set something up. Like that's why I do HYROX now.
Oof.
Otherwise, I would do BJJ or be wrestling, but those things lead to a lot more injuries. HYROX fits in that nice sweet spot where I can avoid injuries while I'm injured right now, But that's why I love HYROX. I watched my dad, he wrestled into his 50s.
Oh, wow.
And I have tapes of him on YouTube during world championships. Wasn't great at that point, but
Still
he went out and did it. He was a man
Yeah.
in the arena, which is, it's helped me realize that I need to do the same thing. And now I tell other dads on my IG, that's what I do. Like, hey, you should go compete. It doesn't matter. It's about getting in the arena. It's about competition. And then when you have that goal, it keeps you accountable to that goal.
Yeah.
And that's why I love, personally love performing in HYROX is that same, it's on me. I get to do this. What I get out is what I put in.
Yeah. Do you know Gus Mankey?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Gus was one of the original guys that told me and showed me about HYROX with Coach Bray and Gus. I saw Gus Dallas in 2023. He won the pro that he was at, the pro HYROX Dallas. Yeah. And he was amazing. I was like, this guy is nuts. And he's only built upon that and on it and stuff. Watching him with a full-time job and doing what he's doing is pretty amazing stuff. But
yeah,
man, he's one of those guys that you're like low-key, like, He's an idol. Like this is so
dude,
cool.
yeah,
I love
and
it.
Gus, and he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's such a nice
but
guy.
also like just a unit. Like he is. I see him working in the gym, and it's funny because he's very, very nice. But when you can see when he's in like killer mode in the gym, like he will tell you like, get out of my way.
He's got the smile on his face, and but he'll kill you on when he's out there running and going. Yeah, I've seen him compete many, many times now, and every time he just makes it look so effortlessly too. When we're out there,
he's got a lot of muscle mass he carries.
He does,
around.
and that's why he's somebody that I look up to, because I carry quite a bit of muscle. I came down because I was powerlifting and bodybuilding before I got into HYROX, and so I was carrying a lot of weight, almost 200 pounds.
Yeah,
but you see a guy like Gus, and you're like, okay, you can do it. It's not like Nicky Bear. You see these guys with a lot of mass, and they can still run well. You know, that true, if you will, hybrid. And so to me, that was something that I was like, okay, this can be done. I can do this. I just need to put the time in.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Well, wait. Back to my original point. Gus recently competed with his dad.
Yes.
Yeah, him and his dad ran a HYROX.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that to kind of get back
I've been asking all my family members, like, who's going to be the first one?
Man, you know, I should ask my little sister if she wants to do one. That'd be fun.
I'm trying to get my 13-year-old son ready. He can compete at 16.
Really?
I keep talking to him about it. He's like,
the 16-year-old has no interest?
Yeah, my 16-year-old.
He's like, Dad, I do real
He's
sports.
awesome. I love him. He falls on the spectrum like I do. And so things tend to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to take him longer to figure those things out.
Then he'll probably love jujitsu, or he does love jujitsu.
He enjoys jujitsu when we push him out there. It's like he enjoys his computer. He enjoys programming and doing that stuff, which most kids do anyways. But activities, we kind of have to push him to get out there. But yeah, they both do jujitsu. I'm trying to get my little one. I think he'd be great. He's 13. Yeah. I want to get him to do HYROX with me. That would be a dream of mine. But watching Gus and his dad, I wish my dad was still around, because I know my dad would have got out there and done it with me.
Oh yeah. I loved golfing with my dad.
Me too. Same.
And he always wanted me to get into martial arts. Yeah. But at the time, again, kind of like around like your son's age is like 13 through 16. He would tell me like, it was kind of funny because he related to like at that time. We're talking 2003, 4.
Yeah.
He's like, watch Bruce Lee movies. Watch Bruce Lee.
I
was
yes.
Because I didn't know what Muay Thai was. I didn't know jujitsu. I didn't know any of that crap.
Be like, what's up, my friend?
Yeah, and I was like, Dad, karate's whack. Like I play real sports. Like I'm not gonna go do karate. Yeah. And it's like now it's like, man, if had I gotten to like, and I did do a little bit of wrestling. But until I hyperextended my thumb. And at the time, because I only did it for conditioning between football and baseball. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll pick up wrestling. I have the body type for it. Yeah. And I caught this guy that went to shoot on me. And instead of having like my thumb cupped, I had my thumb extended.
With your thumb? Yeah, that's a bad idea.
And so I had to have like a hard cast, like wrapped in an ace bandage. And at the time I was taking hitting lessons at the University of New Mexico. Yeah. And so for like a month, I couldn't hit. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like this wrestling's not for me. Yeah. Cause I was like, I'm not going to go college football. Definitely not going to go college wrestling. I was like, my best chance is college baseball, which I went on to do. But I was like, I can't compromise anything because I quit playing football because I separated my left AC joint.
I'm right with you. Separated my shoulder too, wrestling.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm sticking to baseball.
If we went over all the injuries I got during wrestling, man, we'd be here all day. Yeah. Like I got tons of them. Wrestling's a hard sport, especially when you're wrestling against other guys that want to go hard. Yeah. You know, I see that right now with the BJJ. When I go out there, I'm like, I'm 44, man. I don't want to get hurt. Like I want to do the sports I want to do, but everybody's constantly hurt. It's not easy. Wrestling's not easy.
Oh, wrestling's brutal.
Yeah.
And so after my last Muay Thai fight, I had got approached to do an MMA fight.
Yeah.
And like I had dabbled with some jujitsu.
You need the wrestling and jujitsu.
Yeah. And like I had a semester of wrestling and that was it in high school. But I had done maybe 24 jujitsu classes at the time. And then they approached me about doing an MMA fight. Yeah. And my shoulders could never stay healthy enough for me to train. But I agreed to it. I was like, they hit me up for their spring card. I was like, hit me up for your summer card. Like, give me 6 months to like really train. Like,
you need like defense. 2 or 3 years of grappling.
For sure. Yeah, I was just trying to stand up.
Like, who am I fighting?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, put me up against another Muay Thai fighter, I'll take it. But then that was like February of 2020. So COVID hit and no fight.
Done. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the matchup. You know, you see that in UFC. You'll put 2 standing guys and it'll look great. Oh, they're so good. You get a wrestler in there and they're toast. Like, you need to be able to have 2 or 3 years of defensive wrestling, just like jujitsu. You need defensive jujitsu. And then you can stand and throw. But yeah, if you don't have that stuff, you're gonna get toasted. A rear naked choke is coming your way real quick.
Or an arm bar. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when I first started training Muay Thai, you know, you do a lot of shadow boxing to warm up for class, and they tell you do a lot of shadow boxing on your own time. Mm-hmm. And I would shadow box a lot that defense. Yeah. I would shadow the box like the hell out of some defense.
Being able to react.
And I would just have someone, I would have my friend at the time that was training with me. I'd be like, all right, just throw kicks at me. Like I'm gonna stand here and just like defend, but like with shin guards on, obviously. I was like, just throw whatever kick. Just throw whatever kick. I have to read and react. And that was like a drill that I would do all the time.
Yeah, I was the same way. Defensive first. Yeah. I mean, a lot of punches are thrown or counter punches anyways.
Yeah.
So you want to slip and throw. That's what I would do if I was training people now. Learn how to defend anything. And then, you go into the offense.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of offense from that defense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, counter striking is huge.
Counter striking is
Conor
huge.
McGregor
was the best at it.
Yeah.
He do the old man, watch him, put your hand out in front, guide, down block. He was good at it.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people understood what he was doing because he knew he wasn't going to be a grappler. So he needed a down block with that front hand. He'd load that right. Oh, he was great in his heyday. He was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like when he knocked out Jose Aldo.
Yep.
It was a counter strike.
He knew it was coming.
Like he was off his back foot and just threw a check hook.
You get a good reaction and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
And then guys like Khabib, where he would do the fake double leg and the over the top right hand. That was his bread and butter.
That's how he dropped Conor.
Every time. Yeah. With so many guys he dropped like that. But it's a hard thing to do is to down block that double because you can't give that up.
Yeah.
And then that overhand right come, a lot of people hated that overhand right too. And all the boxers and Muay Thai, you can't throw that. When you add wrestling in, you can throw it and it's very dangerous.
Right. Yeah. If you don't mask it offhand, it's not going to land.
You don't
it's
mask
such a long, sloppy kind of shot. But again, if
unless
you
can
get
double legs coming. Yep. Exactly.
There was at one point, not currently, but there was at one point where every male UFC champion had a wrestling base.
Yes.
It was like Usman and John Jones and Merab and probably Volkanovski at 45. Cejudo at 35 and then Islam at 55. It's like all of the male champions had a wrestling base.
Yep.
Except for maybe heavyweight, because I think that was probably, unless it was Daniel Cormier, obviously he's got a wrestling base.
Yeah, that area where you were still kind of a one, discipline. You had a lot of stuff, but you're still one. Now we've kind of hopped over that line with the Ilya Poria.
Oh, God, dude.
You have these guys that do it all.
Yeah.
And I love the way this sport is going because of those guys that can do everything.
I recently had a friend, he's a strength coach up in the Dallas area. His name's Gavin. We actually met at On It for a certification maybe like almost 10 years ago now, but we still keep in touch. And he posted something about like the most like exciting, like who's the one professional athlete, like you're tuning in to watch. And I think he posted something about Messi.
Yeah.
But he had like a comment section on his post, and I was like, Shohei Ohtani. I was like, you tune in when, and then I told him, because I also know he's an MMA fan.
Yeah.
MMA is not as popular as obviously the main sports in the US, but I was like, Ilya. Yeah. I was like, dude, Ilya, like undefeated, nasty base, about to be a double weight champ. Like
for me, before him, it was Oliveira. When he was coming up, wrecking people, trying to get to the belt, he was real hungry. He was a must watch for me.
Yeah. I like Alex Pereira. Like I've known him from like the Glory kickboxing days.
Yeah.
And so like when he was coming into the UFC, I was like, oh, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
And he has just been like legendary since coming to the UFC.
It's getting more and more fun to watch. We just need more of those types of guys coming up. They're just a handful. But I think, the next 10 years, you're going to see the whole divisions are going to be like that. You're going to have tons of guys that they've been doing. I mean, I think we see that in other sports. We see, football and baseball, like the Ohtanis, like they've been doing it from a young age and they've been specifically trained. Now we're getting that with the UFC. So it's so much fun to watch. And HYROX is the same way. Now we're getting the athletes that are starting to train younger and younger and they're getting better and better. But
I'm curious to see what the evolution of HYROX is. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's so exposed to everything.
Yep.
Like
it's the knowledge. It's a great thing. The knowledge gets passed down.
I think it's more good than bad for sure.
I think it's more good than bad.
Yeah. Because you can pursue whatever you want to pursue.
Whatever you want. And you can make money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like wrestling, like the guys that are making money, Bo Bassett. I don't know if you know who he is. Young kid making tons of money. He's a wrestler. And he's putting all the videos, content out there. Before he was even 18, he was getting huge offers.
No way.
Yeah. I think the internet has allowed athletes to be professional athletes. And the same thing that's happening with those sports that you couldn't, like when I wrestled, you couldn't make money off of it. Now you actually can. You can get endorsements, get these brand deals and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
HYROX is doing the same thing. They're doing it the right way where, you're coming up and you're building a base and you have these fans, you can make money in it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know Jacked Fitness. He's somebody that I watch. I love his stuff, but he didn't want to be an influencer and he found himself in that space.
Yeah.
But you can make money and then you can quit your day jobs and really, really go after being a professional athlete, regardless of your age, which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah. And that's still a conundrum with the UFC. Like so many of these guys still have day jobs.
Yeah.
There's so few fighters that are making more than $1 million a fight.
And it's weird because you have the internet. Why aren't you leveraging it? That doesn't make sense.
That is, and it's kind of to the negative side of that, and say negative, say it's not, whatever. You're starting to see like some of the like female athletes kind of go towards like the
I see those
kind of posts, and I'm like,
yes,
man, I wish you wouldn't do that because I respected you as a fighter.
It waters it down just a little bit. Like I'm totally
make your money.
Yes,
I'm there for that.
I want people to be able to make their
feed
choices,
your families, whatever.
But it hurts the thing that I enjoy, and that's the UFC and it's the fighting, and it does. It's a very strange. I'm not sure where I really lie on that.
Yeah.
But I get what you're trying to say, and it starts to water down the thing that's important to me, which is the UFC.
Right. Like I followed you because you're an elite
a good fighter.
Yeah. I don't want to see you walking around in lingerie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't especially because like now if I open up my Instagram in front of a high school athlete and I'll throw out. I'm not Mackenzie Dern just became champ at 125. Like I think she's awesome.
She's amazing. I've been watching,
and she's also very attractive.
Yeah. Yes.
But I don't think she does this too much. But there are fighters out there, so I don't want to open up my Instagram and I'm following so and so, and it's like them, whatever. And I'm like, oh God, just scroll past that real quick.
Yeah.
So again, that part of it is. But you're right. Like there's so many endorsement offers, sponsorship offers. There's
way to make money.
Ways to make money out there for sure.
Yes.
Because. I mean, I remember the first fighter I trained, female, Claudia Gadelia, and she was at the time ranked the #1 contender in the world.
Yeah.
She had just fought for the title twice at 115. She just came off a season of The Ultimate Fighter. And at that time, again, still ranked #1, she would make $48,000 to make weight and then $48,000 if she won.
Yeah.
Which was pretty damn good.
It's not bad at all, yeah.
But it's like, okay, you're asking her to travel, pay her coaches and doctors outside of fights. Yeah, exactly. And it's like one of those things I'm like, for her to make a good living, she probably has to fight like 4 times a year, especially because she
and that's
was
dangerous.
living in
High
Brazil.
risk.
Oh, yeah. And then so for her to like travel from Brazil to Vegas, and she did her training in Albuquerque and would like put herself up at a house and pay her coach. It's like,
it's not worth it.
Now you're
we're still in the days of old football where they're wearing leather helmets.
Right.
We need those farm systems, those people coming up, that are gonna unfortunately pave the way for the future.
Yeah.
But, it's still in a bad place. When I was doing it 20 years ago, they were trying to get me, it was King of the Cage. I never competed in a cage. I just want to make that really clear. I did a lot of street fighting. I trained, but I never got in the cage because it was like, here's $500 to go do that. Now I have a lot of friends that did that back in the day in Southern California, did King of the Cage.
Oh yeah.
A buddy
King of the
of
Cage is
mine.
a big promotion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's around anymore.
No, probably not. It was at Saboba Casino. So like a long time ago, one of my friends,
they used to come to Albuquerque.
Yeah, they did. But they were paying nothing to get your face beat in. I probably did so much. All my teeth are fake from getting hit in the face and wrestling. Yeah. So it's like, it wasn't worth it back then. And still, it's even hard today to make a living like that. But you have to leverage the internet. There's no reason not to. And when I talk to young people, it's like, get used to the internet. When I teach I should say this, when I teach my kids, it's like, let's learn how to use the internet. Let's learn to use it appropriately. It's a tool. You can make a lot of money doing whatever you love, but you got to do it the right way. It can be bad and it can be good. Yeah.
I always hear about like the crazy, 10-year-old kid who's reviewing kids' toys on YouTube and making millions of dollars. Yeah. And I'm like,
It borders on the line to me. Like, is this exploitation? What are we doing? But when you're talking about that much money, like they're going to be set for life. It's not much of exploitation. But I'm sure that in some situation it does go that route.
I'm sure. Yeah. There's probably like weird legalities that come with like the parents and like who's the money going to.
Well, also when you're talking about fame is a very weird thing too. Like growing up and then everybody recognized you for the rest of life. And they didn't get to choose that. There was no consent. Like, I wanted to be famous. Like, I think most people would choose that over not, but still, they didn't get to choose that. Now they're famous, and that's a really
not everyone knows how to deal with it.
Yeah,
look at the Olsen twins. Look at Macaulay Culkin.
Exactly.
Like, again, I'm not like super well versed in their stories, but they don't seem to be doing too well nowadays. When you look at them, they don't look like healthy individuals.
No, they don't. Not to me.
Yeah.
Well, fame is a weird thing, and we could probably talk about that for a long time. But I think humans are not evolved to take that on, and it becomes a very strange thing. I think a part of what makes life amazing is the anticipation of getting, not the getting, but almost getting there. That goal is just right out of reach. And that's an amazing thing that most people overlook. The journey is really what's important.
Yeah.
And so when you have these famous people that just have everything and you remove all that journey, like, you remove a big part of what it means to be human, what it is to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem we see is they get too much too fast and they don't learn how to enjoy the journey. Like, to me, that's something that's super important. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of characters develop there.
Yes.
In the journey.
Yes.
Yeah. And like,
but that's all the good stuff. Like that's that's what, like, everybody wants to get to the goal, but they don't realize that that's not the thing.
No.
The thing that makes you happy and fulfilled is the journey getting there.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's something that just happens as you get older too. You realize that. And
yeah, probably. I mean, I look at, fight camps or whatever the case may be, the pursuit, the pursuit is like, there's so much good in there.
Yes.
And like I said, so much like character development of like what things. Makes you who you are. That when you're just handed something, like you're skipping like developmental stages.
We're skipping yes, you're skipping all the development, but you're skipping the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like the stuff, there was that movie, what is it, Click, where he fast forwards all the little stuff. And we do that, and we go, oh, I just got to get it done. Just grind. It's like, no, that's all the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's where you learn to love the journey and you learn to love the grind. And that's what makes up your life. It's all these little tiny moments, but you learn to love that, man. That's where the good stuff is.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I wish more people realize, stop clicking by your life. Enjoy where you are every day. It's gonna be gone and it goes quick. I got a 16-year-old and I look and I go, where did all those days go? And I'm somebody that enjoyed those days.
Yeah.
It still goes fast.
I can't imagine. I try to take that advice as much as possible and like kind of live in the moment and be grateful for what I have now.
Yep.
And that's something I always tell myself, like I'm grateful for what I have now, but I'm also grateful for what's coming.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's helped me a lot, man, because there's so many times where, and this is everybody, you look at what you lack. You're not looking at what you have.
Yes.
And it's like,
yes,
I'm a perfect example of this. So I wonder if this hits for everyone, but like I am very much living a life that I prayed for 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Like the fact that I'm even a coach at Correct, formerly On It, like if you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have been like, no
blowing
fucking
your mind.
way, dude.
Yeah.
No fucking way. Not only like I'm a lead coach, I'm working with elite athletes
and
amongst
look at all
this
this
community.
And this community,
too. Yeah.
this podcast,
oh my gosh, dude. Yeah.
But you stretched and you worked for that.
Yeah, and I showed up.
And you showed up.
And and that there's so much, like you said, there's so much good in that.
So much there.
Yeah, and
I'm the same way too. Then let's see, it's been 16 years when I got divorced. My wife cheated on me. I was addicted to cocaine. I was praying every night, hey, deliver me from this, deliver me, because I knew it was wrong. If you told me I would be where I am today doing the things, there's no way.
No way.
There's no way.
Yeah. You're doing coke.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you're the high one.
Yeah, exactly. And so, there's always something in the future. If anybody that's watching or listening to this, there's hope in the future.
Oh,
like I would have never guessed I'd been where I am. And if you'd have shown me that, I would have said, no way. But now I realize there's so much more in the future. You're grateful for the moment, but grateful, like you said, I love that. Be grateful for what's coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny. I read this in a book, and it's something that I forget the name of the book, and because I'm really bad at that. It's funny listening to, again, side story.
Yeah.
Listening to your podcast on the Fear Less podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
It really hit with me because recently, I've had friends kind of point out, like, you might actually be ADHD because my brain just bounces around. And you can probably tell from like the way I'm like bouncing from stories to stories. And I never got diagnosed because I always just chalked it up to being, like a rambunctious kid. And I'm like, I'm off the walls. I'm like a
That's how most people
machine.
think of it anyways.
Yeah, right. It's like you said, it's not a, how did you word it in the podcast? It's not a condition. Like it's not a disability.
It's not a disability.
Yeah.
Yes. It is just the way your brain functions. And in our world, sometimes that can be maladaptive.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got to figure that out. What is that? What are the problems and how do we solve it? Everybody wants to label. There's two ways you can take it. You can label to make an excuse for your life, or you can label it to figure out what the problems are so you can solve the problems.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I figured that out. I only went and got diagnosed because I knew there was a high likelihood of it passing down to my kids.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to know what this is. I want to know what the medications are. I want to know, clinically what's going on. And so I went and I got diagnosed and got therapy and that stuff. And so I could do that for my kids. But I think, for most people, it's just not very helpful. It's like, what are your problems and how do we solve this?
Yeah. And you used a great analogy in that podcast about the sports car.
Yes, yeah.
Once
not having gears 1 and 2.
Yeah, and it's like, because like the laziness that gets attached to ADHD, it's like it's just the getting going. But once you get going, like you're going.
Yes,
and that's very much me, and that's been my life. Like it takes me like moving out here to Texas, like getting into strength and conditioning, getting into fighting. Like it took me a while to get going, but once I got there, I was running.
Yep. That's all the energy. It's dopamine transition letdown. So I deal with. Because my son is also ADHD, it happens all the time. Whatever you're doing and you're in the moment, if you're enjoying it, you've got this high dopamine. But to transition to the next thing, it's got to go down, right? So you got to go through that transition to get to the next thing. And once you're in the next thing, you're just like, Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I like doing BJJ. This is fun.
Yeah,
but
right.
I didn't want to leave the computer. So once you learn that problem, now we can figure out how to solve for that problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people, don't really worry about getting diagnosed. If you're young, if you have children, you should get them diagnosed because it can be helpful in school, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
But for adults, what's your problem? How's it affecting your life? Let's solve for that. You don't need a diagnosis.
How can you use it for you?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because it comes with some upsides, right?
Yeah.
I'm always reading like 5 books at any one time. I should say audibles. I listen to books or podcasts, like mining for gold. What's in here that I can learn and I can take on. And so I'll pop around, whatever I'm interested in at the time, whether it's physics, theology, biology, biochem, psychology, I'll pop around and listen to all these things.
Yeah.
And so I use my ADHD as a superpower, I think that maybe that gets used a little bit too much, but it is who I am. And so I've learned to use it and make it part of my life.
Mine's always physical. Mine's like, I golf, I play baseball, and I still play like in a men's baseball league, like wood bat baseball league. I do Muay Thai, I do strength and conditioning.
Man in the arena, I love that.
Yeah, like me, like I've always had a hard time sitting down, so I do Audible. I can't read a book. I jokingly told my friend that I can't read, but it's so hard for me to sit down. Yeah, I'll read a whole book and be like, man, lunch was really good today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like that.
I'm the same way. I need to be doing at least 2 things at once. So if I'm reading a book, I have to have something in my hand to fidget with, or I have to walk around so that I can read and not think. But with Audible, I can run. I can, physically do something, and then I can listen to Audible, and so I can do those 2 things at once.
Also a good place to escape the struggles of not struggles, but the hardships of running.
Yes.
Like, cool, this run doesn't suck so much because I just listened to a whole book.
Well, we talked about that tools for transition let down, right? And that's one of the ones I use is like when I have a good podcast and I'm like, oh, I want to listen to that. That's the dopamine driver to get to my shoes and get running. I got to put the podcast on. Oh,
nice.
Now I start running, and then you get that runner's high, and then you don't necessarily need the podcast. But I use the podcast to get there, or whatever I'm reading at the time.
Yeah.
But that's one of those tools. It's so helpful.
That's your carrot at the end of the stick.
Exactly. Actually, what's funny is it used to be music. And I think for a lot of people, it's music. And that overstimulates me while running. So listening to somebody talk, whether it's Chris Williamson or Joe Rogan or, I've got like a dozen podcasts that I listen to. Whatever is interesting at the time, I throw it on and I let that transition and I get running. And now I actually enjoy running, which is weird.
Who would have thought?
So
Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you would have asked me even a year ago, well, let's see. Yeah, a year ago, if I'd ever do a HYROX, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But what got me started was we did a simulation for people getting ready for HYROX Dallas last year.
Yes, I was probably there.
So it's probably right around this time. Yeah, you probably were. So it was right around this time last year. And I was training a client back in our sports performance area, so like the back room at On It, or now correct. And I'm just seeing these guys go through it. God, and I'm like, God, I want some of that.
I want some of that pain.
I was like, that's what I'm lacking right now. I'm too comfortable. I'm too comfortable and I want some of that.
Yep.
And so
running sucks. It's hard.
Dude, it's brutal. So my buddy, Anthony Magaglione, he's a coach at
I know who you're talking about.
I watched him and his girlfriend, Olivia, do HYROX in Dallas. And I remember talking to him after, and he's like, well, let's do Houston in March. And I'm like, all right, sold.
Did you do Houston?
I did Houston in March.
I did Houston too. I was there.
Nice. Yeah. And then after Houston, him and I went to go. We had a couple buddies do Monterrey, Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
And
had some friends go down there.
Yeah. So we met up with them after that down in Puerto Escondido, Mexico, which is a little beach town. Which, if you're looking for like a Mexican beach vacation, I would go there within the next 5 years. It's about to blow up. It's so nice, and you can see they're already building a massive airport.
There too?
Well, we didn't go to Puerto Escondido for the HYROX.
Okay.
But we went down there to meet up with our buddies that did HYROX in Mexico. Gotcha. And we were sitting there, and then we had such a good time on that trip, and we're like, man, we should travel more.
Yeah.
And so we started kind of booking out the year of like, oh, let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. And one thing I brought up, I was like, well, my birthday is early October. That's when Balloon Fiesta is in Albuquerque.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, let's go to Balloon Fiesta. Hundreds and thousands, not hundreds and thousands, but hundreds, maybe thousands of hot air balloons going off in Albuquerque. Oh, it's beautiful, and the weather's perfect. And we started talking about that. And he's like, all right, cool. And then like a week or two later, he hits me up. He's like, hear me out. There's a HYROX in Italy at the end of September.
Oh, geez, yes.
And so we just got back from that.
Right.
So we went and ran Rome.
Yeah.
And man, it's just one of those things. Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not going to lie though. The judges kind of hosed us on some things.
Yeah. I got some stories on HYROX judging too, man. I mean, God bless their heart. A lot of them are volunteering to be out there, and it is tough to being out there. They get overworked too. Some of them are out there for 10, 12 hour days. So and
I'm curious like what their level of like fitness expertise is.
Yeah.
Because Anthony and I, we realistically probably should have finished around like 108, 109.
Yeah, nice. Good time.
We still PR'd. We got 114.
But wall balls?
Wall balls.
Wall balls? Yeah.
Bro,
that's my story
no
too.
rep on like 30 of them.
Yep.
And we had friends recording. And so we went back and watched it. First of all, I'm sitting there,
Were
I'm
they
standing right there
not
watching
parallel,
him.
or was it the machine?
No, it was not parallel, is what the judge was saying. And he was standing, he was kneeling next to Anthony. And as Anthony would squat, he would lower his arm.
Oh, geez.
And then come back up. We're like,
yeah, you got to stay consistent.
Stop doing that. And, you know, obviously the English was not there.
Yep.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you get penalized if you no rep a certain amount.
Oh, I don't even know.
Someone told me that. They're like, you get penalized a minute if you know. I'm not 100% sure. That might be a rule that's coming. Yeah, I'm not sure if they enforce that.
I don't know why they would need to penalize that. Like,
I don't know either. But it's like you get penalized if you drop the sandbag on the walking lunges, you know?
Yeah. They can DQ you on 2 times.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things, like we looked at our times and most of our stations were around like 2-ish, 220
like
minutes.
10 minutes on the...
Dude, yeah. It was like almost 6 minutes on wall balls. Yep. And then there was a time on burpee broad jump where there was one rep where they made me go back because I jumped over the end line for the first
your heels touched
40 meters. No, I jumped over it, but my momentum carried me back.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. And so they're like, nope, go back. Yeah. And then Anthony, his last jump, he jumped and like his feet landed separately. It was like, versus... God. And some of the rules, so they made him go back.
Some of the judging so inconsistent.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I was like, man, realistically, we should have been closer to sub 110.
That actually happened to me. My first HYROX Pro was Las Vegas, and I was doing wall balls, and the electronic system was still kind of new.
Yeah,
and I did like 10, the first wall balls, and the meter didn't register any of them, and then it started registering. Right, it starts going, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna ignore. I'm gonna keep going, and then I got to like 77, and it stopped again. The thing just hit it. I'm looking around going, hit it. And it's not going off.
Oh my
Judge is not giving me every information. I'm talking to my people that are out there. They're like, just keep going. I did about 30 extra wall. The whole thing, you know, I got all of the judges involved. Eventually I got the head judge to come out there and go, you're at 91. Like he just picked a number. And then they just counted 92. The rest of the way. Yeah. And the machine still didn't work. It was like, I have it on video, like just, I did about 130 wall balls. I was still really happy with my time because it was my first pro event. Yeah. I was like, I think an hour and 30, but I should have been like an hour and 25.
Yeah.
But it So I wish they would figure out something different to do with the wall balls. Because when what people don't realize is that when you have a bar on your back and you're squatting down, the gravity pushes you straight down. So your level legs are very obvious, the crease of your knees and your hips, right? Mm-hmm. That's the 90 degrees. But when you're doing wall balls, you tend to lean on your toes. So when you lean on your toes, it actually doesn't look parallel, even though you're fully squatted. Yeah. And so the judges don't know that. So they'll call a no rep when you're like, well, technically the hips aren't below the knees because the heels are off the ground, right?
Yeah, but if you tilted those heels back,
it would be 90 below degrees.
Knee crease.
And I think a lot of the problem we're seeing with HYROX is that right there. Is if you push through your heels and you keep your hips down, it's much easier to judge. But if you lean forward because the ball is in front of you, the judges are not going to know. They're going to be like, oh, that's a bad rep. But
that was like my bread and butter because I was a catcher.
Like, that's what I'm good at too.
I'm short and I was a catcher in baseball. So like literally the judge is like sitting there, he's like, oh, these are beautiful. These are great. These are great. And I'm driving from my heels. Like I never once came up on my toes as I'm extending through triple extension.
Yeah, which you should.
Yeah, as you should. But when I'm squatting down, I'm full squat, heels on the ground. Like
it's easy to call like that. You see the best, the Elite 15, they drop so low. I'm sure they use extra energy to do that, but it's worth it. You don't want to get no rep.
Yeah, the no reps
just drop.
Yeah, we had Allie. She works the front desk at On It. She went out to when we were in Italy. Her and her mom ran it. So kind of to go back to like the parents running it. Yeah. So her and her mom ran it. And they did great. I think they beat mine and Anthony's time.
That's cute. Good runners.
I know. But Allie, her first like 20 wall balls, she was hitting the men's target.
Oh, no kidding?
They
weren't giving it to her?
They weren't giving it to her. I don't think that, because I think the judge was just looking at the iPad.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
And so I don't think he noticed that she was hitting above the women's target.
Jeez.
And I'm sitting there yelling my ass off. I'm like, Allie,
you're on target.
I was like, you're hitting the wrong target. And finally she looked over at us and was like, oh, fuck.
Man.
But she honestly, I think she got no rep, like probably 20.
It just seems to be super common. I feel like it's the only station where there's a lot of controversy all the time. I wish they would do something. They're never going to change it, but I would love to see something like the ball has to touch the ground. And then that way you don't have to worry about the subjectivity of getting into a squat position. Yeah. The ball hits the ground, you pick the ball up.
Just catch it on the bounce, on the recoil.
Yeah, whatever you want, but the ball, maybe even controlled. You catch the ball, touches the ground, doesn't matter where you squat, where you throw it from, then you would remove the subjectivity. Like all that has to happen is it hits, touch the ground. So it's almost like a ball slam, something like that. You could make big changes, remove the subjectivity, but not change the whole event.
Yeah. There was another girl that we saw, because they'll bring out a box. Like
the bucket or the box.
Yeah, the bucket. Yeah. And like the girl was squatting lower than the box without it. And like
that's what's frustrating.
So the judge would have her hit it and then pull it away, and her squats were lower, and you would like no rep her. And we're like, this is absurd.
And you know what's funny? Going back to what we were talking about, like you getting into HYROX, seeing it. So my wife is going to do her first one in Dallas. She's seen me
coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, she's doing it with a doubles with a partner.
Yeah.
But she's seen me do 5 of them, and so that's what happens. You see it, and you're like, she's done the marathons, and she's like, I want to do that. But that's her biggest fear is like, I don't want the bucket. And she's great with the squat and whatever. She's ready to do it. She doesn't realize she's ready, but she's ready. But that's the thing is everybody that hasn't done them, they see that stuff and they're like, oh man, like I don't want that to happen. It's like, it happens a lot less than people think.
Yeah.
And I think the judges kind of know what the categories are too. Like this group is the professionals. You know, we're gonna judge them in the open stuff. Come on, like
people are just trying to finish.
Yes, I hate that when you see the people on the internet making fun of okay, there's this 60-year-old not squatting. Like, give them a break. Come on, like.
Did you see? I think it was in Houston. A guy in a wheelchair.
I saw that. It's amazing.
And he's doing the burpee broad jump. Dude, I was like, holy crap!
Cool. That stuff lights me up. That's what I like about HYROX.
It's scalable.
Yeah,
exactly. For sure. And it was one of the things, like going in Houston, like I had no issues with any judging or nothing. And I think
Houston was great.
But then, like I said, going to Italy, man, they were so strict with us.
Well, the inconsistencies there. I think that's why you got to do a lot of them.
Yeah.
Kind of like you got to get, totality of what your times are and watch and go up. But it takes a few years to get those times up.
Yeah.
Just it's like magic. I'm watching my body go from, 160, 180, and then all of a sudden you'll run and it'll drop down to 100. You're just like, how did that happen? That's so cool. You taught your body to do that. Like your body will adapt. And it's something I like about HYROX. Yeah. But everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool. I don't know if you saw Alex Rakonovich, the guy that won Worlds. He put out a post from 7 years ago of him doing HYROX 7 years ago. And he's can barely throw the wall balls. Like it's such a great post because you see where he came from and where he is, all these years later, being the number one in the world, one of the fastest times.
Yeah.
But I think if you're consistent with it, it allows everybody to get really good because it is scalable.
Yeah. So you doing another one?
Doing lots of
when's the next? I'm doing lots of them. When's the next one?
I got Dallas coming up.
Oh, so you're doing Dallas as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm 44, turning 45 in January, right? So I changed age categories. So Dallas will be kind of like a warm up for me, see what my times are, see if I'm close enough to get to Worlds in the pro division. And then I'm doing Anaheim because it's at home. Go back to Southern California, where I grew up. Lots of family going to come watch me in Anaheim. I'll still be 44. So I'll be a pro warm up. And then I got Phoenix. Phoenix will be the majors.
When's Phoenix?
It is at the end of January. I think it's 31st through the February 2nd. But I've already signed up for pros and I'll be 45. So we'll see. I figure I need like a 107, maybe better than that in the pros to make Worlds. But that's the goal, man. Like let's throw it all out there. Let's try to make Worlds. I've got a couple years in that division, 45, 46. I'm just going to keep hitting it. Just gonna keep hitting it. I'd really love to go to Stockholm. Yeah. That would be a dream, like to get to do that. So that's the goal right there, right? I put it up
big
there.
Picture.
Yeah, big picture. If it happens, my coach came up and he's like, your times might not be good enough to make Worlds. I'm like, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I just love this journey and I love getting better at it. I'm dealing with lots of injuries right now. So I'm hoping my knees are really bad from years of wrestling and sports.
Powerlifting.
I've got arthritis in my knees for powerlifting too.
Yeah.
Arthritis in my knees. And so I'm dealing with like a torn meniscus right now that's finally starting to heal. So I haven't ran in several weeks, but I'm hopeful. I'll hopefully be better by Dallas and then I'll get ready. But Phoenix is really the one I wanted to really perform at. So I got some time.
Ramp up for.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I didn't know that they were doing one in Phoenix. I just got back from Phoenix playing in a baseball. Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah.
I played in a baseball tournament out there. I don't know if you noticed I have a leg sleeve on.
Yeah.
Because I was going to bring this up earlier, but the ADHD brain kicked in. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this as a coach, because we're talking about the evolution of like seeing more athletes in sports, or like, more athletes in sports. So like athletes in MMA or people just getting more athletic in general. I had a client ask me recently, he tore his Achilles playing college basketball, and he's 38, 37 now. But we were talking about the amount of injuries that are going on in sports right now.
Yeah,
and like you look at, well, not necessarily overtraining. Well, also overtraining for sure. But I have a theory, and I have no idea if there's actually studies or anything done on it. I think humans are getting almost too athletic for what the body can handle, for what like connective tissue can handle. Like you look at a guy like Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
he can deliver so much force through his legs. It's like, well, how much can his ACL? Because you can't go, I got an ACL day at the gym today.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to go in there and specifically train your ACL. You can train the stuff around it, obviously. So I'm like wondering, I'm like, man, are these guys delivering too much? Like, you look at like a Zion Williams.
Yeah.
He's too athletic for what his body can handle. That's why he's consistently hurt.
Yeah.
And
well, you have a diminishing returns. You know, you have that curve. You know, you get all of this power strength, and then you get to the top of that, and it starts to become a limiting factor. When I was powerlifting, at some point it becomes, what can I get? 1 more pound.
Yeah.
Can I get, now it's a half a pound. Like, at some point you get to that level where what you're talking about is you're going to start to get injuries because you're going to go, well, that half pound's not good enough. I want more. And you push past your limits and you overtrain. I think what we're seeing in the science is that you need to have a very good base in adolescence. When you go through puberty, you get the HGH, you get growth plates. That's where a lot of your homeostasis comes from. What is your base fitness going to be as you become an adult? And then after that, you can only improve so much, which is unfortunate because a lot of us get into sports, you know, as an adult. Yeah. But if you don't get a great base when you're in adolescence, I think you're kind of limited.
Okay.
But I mean, injuries are becoming more and more because we have all these great goals. We have the internet. We want to do more. You know, our competition level is getting high. And so we see all these injuries happening. And I'm no different. I feel like I'm always some type of injury, you know, with my knees or something.
Yeah, so that's what I was getting at. Is I just came back from the baseball tournament in Phoenix, and I was a catcher in college, but like what made me different, I hated the knee savers because I was athletic. This is what made me different as a catcher. Is I'm small and athletic. I moved well. I had good footwork. Like, I was explaining this to my client this morning. I was like, do you know what a pop time is in baseball? It's the time that the ball hits the catcher's mitt to the time it hits the second baseman's glove if someone's stealing second. And Major League, anything under 2 is good. And my best pop time that I got was a 191.
Nice.
Yeah, which was great. But like, I didn't have a particularly strong arm, but I had great footwork.
Yeah.
And so I was always like very explosive. And so relaying that to this past weekend or 2 weekends ago in Phoenix, I'm 38 now, and I still very much have like the speed that I had then, but I don't train it as often.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between being in shape and being in sports shape. And so I'm out there and I'm playing 6 games in 4 days. And so the last game, like I was so mad because I was like tearing the cover off the ball. I was hitting the ball really well. And I was in a 25 and over division. So it's a lot of ex-college players like fresh out of college.
So it's still real.
Oh, it's very competition. Very competitive. Wood bat. We're playing on spring training fields. It's great. It's the men's amateur baseball league World Series. And so I'm up to bat against we get through pool play and we're in the actual tournament and I get hit by a pitch, which is fine. I know it was a curveball, so I knew it wasn't on purpose. And so I'm on first. I steal second.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I'm on second, and the guy batting was our catcher. He goes to bunt. And I'm like, perfect. So I go to third, but as soon as I break for third, I just feel like a stab in the back of my hamstring.
Yeah.
And then the third baseman...
even worse.
And then the third baseman made a bad throw, fielding the ball. So I had to try to score.
Yeah.
And I'm like hobbling across the plate. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it stemmed. I think my meniscus is messed up in my left knee.
Yeah.
And I think I was compensating somehow, and I think that's what like popped my hammy. So I got a leg sleeve on right now. I've been getting some PT from our amazing PTs at Correct. So it's been awesome.
On the flip side of all this, the injury stuff is all of the biochem that's coming out with the BP7, the TB500.
I know I need to get on some BBC.
I've been using peptides as well, just trying to see what I can do to heal as fast as possible. Yeah. And the stuff's amazing. The peptides is just messaging signals to tell your body to repair.
Yeah.
There's this, I get myself in trouble here, but there's a lot of definitions over performance enhancing and what is considered performance enhancing. And, they lob all of these peptides into that category, right? They're all performance enhancing with WADA and whatnot. And personally, I think that it's kind of deplorable. Like we're saying, don't use performance enhancing drugs because they're not healthy. Okay. Then why are we also saying don't use peptides
that make you healthy?
That make you healthy. We should allow our athletes to recover, especially in sports like MMA.
Oh, absolutely.
But you have all these injuries that can be healed through these peptides. They're not performing enhancing. For God's sake, let people heal. And so that's kind of like, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, but at some point we're gonna have to have the conversation.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger.
It's getting bigger and bigger. I like the peptides. They've helped me heal injuries in the past. They helped me heal my back. I think they're very important, and we're getting to the point where I think everybody's going to be using them at some point, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and without insurance, it's so much more affordable than pharmaceuticals or doctor visits.
Yes. We're going to see where that lies. That's a whole nother can of worms of insurance and pharma.
Do you follow Brigham Bueller.
Yes, of course. Ways to Well.
Ways to
Yeah,
Well.
it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So I met him when I first started on it. He used to
Yeah.
come in. He was a
Yeah.
member of Aubrey Marcus's
Yeah.
Fit for Service group.
Uh-huh.
So he'd come in and train, and I met him there, and he got me set up with the blood panel. And
Yeah, they're
man,
fantastic.
they're just doing great things.
Well,
over
he's
there.
a superhero, man. He's doing, I don't know if you listen to him, but Joe Rogan, but he's getting out there in the politics, wading in through the muck to try to help people out. Like he's a real
He's lifting the curtain on the insurance companies, dude. Because it's such
we need
a
that.
hideous
Our
industry.
generation is fighting back, and I love it. Like, we're tired of the lies. We're tired of the pharmaceutical lies. We're tired of being manipulated. We're tired of paying for unhealthy people.
Yeah.
We needed something different. And when this boomers, they're all gone, we're going to be the ones left. And I'm hopefully optimistic. I think we're gonna change the landscape of our healthcare, and that's what we're seeing. Guys like him are superheroes, man. They're really
for
fighting.
sure.
I love
He's out there, man. He's on the forefront and very, very boisterous about it. Like he's not hiding anything.
No,
he's not holding anything back. And I think it's awesome. Like you said, it's what we need.
And the internet is helping that. The voices talking about it.
Because he's been on Rogan a couple times now.
Yeah, talking about all this stuff.
Yeah. So I love
hiding.
Brigham. Yeah. I think they're doing a great thing.
But yeah, they're doing a lot of peptides. They're doing the PRPs. Mm-hmm. They're looking at the blood panels. When I have clients or people that reach out and go, what should I do? That's the first thing I say. Hey, go get your blood checked. You're probably, if you're an older male, you're probably low on testosterone. Yep. Even females,
Even a younger male, you're probably low on testosterone.
Yes. People don't understand that there's a lot of endocrine disrupting chemicals in our environment everywhere, from our air to our water to our foods. Plastic is in everything. You're probably low on testosterone. Yeah. And we're only looking at certain markers too. We probably don't know all of the markers. And so you could have even normal blood markers and still have problems just because we're looking at the wrong things, but we're getting better at that. Yeah. And I think that's the first thing every client that I talk to, hey, get your, losing weight, going to be a whole lot easier if you have the right amount of testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
Females, progesterone, estrogen, depending on what your age is, you should have them all normalized. There's no reason not to. Yeah. It's more dangerous to have low testosterone or low progesterone if you're female, or even low estrogen. More dangerous to have those being low than they are actually super physiological. And that's what people, this old pharmaceutical idea that testosterone is bad. Oh, it's this evil thing. And it's ridiculous. Yeah. I've been on TRT for years. My testosterone is low. My body doesn't produce enough. And so I supplement that. Yeah. Just like I
protein.
Eat. Exactly.
You supplement protein because we don't eat enough of it.
I don't use super physiological levels. My testosterone is within normal levels, but it's regulated.
Yeah, you're not at 1200.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I agree.
And doing HYROX, I've actually learned that higher testosterone is not helpful. I actually have lowered my testosterone because I want my blood pressure to be lower.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have to actually monitor and watch. But that's those things are still in people's heads. Oh, this is cheating, and this is unhealthy, and all this BS that came from the 90s pharmaceutical companies trying to push a little blue pill or a depression pill or statins, blood pressure medication. Wow, testosterone takes care of all of those things.
We're one of 2 countries that actually has commercials for pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
they push their nonsense.
Yeah, and I'm the same thing. I went maybe, when did I went 2 years ago to get blood work done. Yeah. And I think my testosterone was like 490, 480.
Yeah,
and
real
it's like,
low.
man, I'm
no wonder
like
I feel like crap.
Yeah, no wonder. Like I feel like I'm not recovering. My mood's shitty. Like all this stuff. And then through, honestly, what it was a diet change, more recovery, and more activity. Yeah. And then like a slight supplementation. I'm not on full blown TRT. I forget what the stuff I'm on is called.
And clomiphene, probably.
Yeah.
And clomiphene's
I'm up to like 790 now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And what's optimal? Like 800?
It's different for every person because it's also based on your free test. So it's sex hormone binding globulin. So whatever the ratio are, that's what is considered healthy. Okay. But for everybody, it's kind of different because you also have reception of testosterone. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of variables that you take into consideration. But the one I always say is like, how do you feel? Yeah. If you feel good,
I feel way better.
Boom. That's all that matters.
I feel like recovery, I feel like I'm not as inflamed as I used to be. Like there's so many benefits to it. And that's what I've said. I've said that like, we're kind of against it as far as men go, because again, the plastics and everything, like our testosterone. Yeah. What do they say now? Like the 70-year-olds back in
I've heard that a lot.
The 1960s have the testosterone of like 20-year-olds now.
Who knows? Right. I don't put a lot of credence into that stuff.
But still, like, I also wouldn't be surprised if it was true.
I would also be surprised. Yes. Because our food is degraded. it's awful. I could talk all day on all that stuff because we're way behind on some of that stuff, like food. Yeah. But I think what you said is important. You know, you need to get your blood work done. You need to do the things that are important to get your testosterone back up naturally first. The working out, the eating right. I do think that that's important. And it needs to be said. Should you use testosterone supplements if you need it? Yeah, I agree. The enclomiphene is great. Tells your body to make its own testosterone. Then you find out if it's a physiological problem. You know, does your body create test or not? And then if it doesn't, use TRT. There's nothing wrong with it. No. I think that it keeps your IGF-1 levels high, which keeps you looking younger, longer. People always ask me,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they're like, "How are you 44? You look much younger." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I keep my testosterone levels normalized and I watch it and pay attention." All that stuff's important, and we're getting to the point where we know it really well. Yeah, and there's no reason not to do it. In my opinion,
I agree.
There's no downside. Living longer, feeling healthier. Oh my goodness, looking better.
Sure.
Oh geez,
being happier. Weird.
And it's just like anything else. You know, you do too much can lead to high blood pressure and lead to bad things. But you don't have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you could literally die from drinking too much water.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like everything obviously in moderation. But like that's something that should be tracked and monitored. And guys, I've said this before on the podcast, but like, if you're feeling down, you're feeling bad, you're not happy with your body or your recovery or whatever, like go get your blood levels checked. There's probably something that like you don't know. You might think like, oh God, like I'm in a rut.
Well, it could be something simple too. Like it could be a B12 deficiency.
Right.
Like you might not methylate, B12 or whatever it is. You know, maybe you don't have enough iron or hemoglobin, your kidneys. Like there's just a list of reasons that you should get your blood work done to find out what your body is doing. You get ahead of it early in life and you start exercising. I think Peter Attia talks about this all the time. Exercise is 5 times better for you than anything is bad. Yeah. And I truly believe that statement. Like, whatever the percentage is, exercise. Yeah. Do something hard and it's going to help you live longer. It's going to help you feel better. And then you get all the blood work done and all that stuff. And
it's so funny you say that because what's the date today? The 4th?
Yeah.
On the 13th is my 10-year anniversary of separating from my ex-wife. And I look back on that and it was Friday the 13th.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. But I look back on that and like I look at pictures of me from then. I look older then than I do now. Yeah. And like, I used to, for baseball, I always used to have like a buzz cut. I'd cut my hair super short.
Yeah.
Because I was a catcher, right? So I didn't want like my hair in my helmet.
Keep it easy.
I look like I was balding.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I look like I was balding. I wasn't. I do have like fine hair. My dad had very fine hair. But like I look older then than I do now. And I'm like, good God. But like I was also 230 soft pounds. Yeah. I was not like a big fit 230.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm 5'8", so big fit 230.
That's a lot,
good
230.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was a soft 230.
Yeah.
And like ever since I not blaming my divorce for getting in shape. Like that wasn't the reason why I got in shape. But like once I started getting in shape after the divorce and getting into martial arts and then like really taking strength and conditioning seriously, it's like, man, like I look so different than I used to. Yes. And like I show people pictures and they're like, holy shit.
That's not even you. I got the same thing.
Looks like the guy that ate Nick.
Yeah. Estrogen dominance in males is awful.
Yeah, I had tits for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys out there that do, and they're just like, they hate it. They won't take their shirts off. And it's like, start exercising. It's really not that hard.
Change the game. Dude.
Yeah. You look at my pictures, I'm the same way. I was 205 and 5'8" body wasn't good until I took it serious. Yeah. You have to. You got to take care of yourself. I love that analogy if you get one car for the rest of your life, what would it be? Yeah. And it's like, but the point is you got to take care of that one car because you only get one. And that's our bodies. Don't you want to see your body as a Ferrari rather than a minivan? Like, I want to be a Ferrari, man. Yeah, I don't want to be a dump truck. Like, but I want to
go fast.
I want to go fast. I want to do cool stuff as long as I can.
Yeah.
I have people that I work out with. Do you know Kent Smith?
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
dude.
What is he in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get that wrong, but he's amazing. Yeah. He's amazing. And then I have powerlifting coaches, Howard Myers and George. They're in their 70s. I think they're both in their 70s, still deadlifting 500 plus pounds, 600. Wow. These guys are amazing, right? You can do it. And I love looking up to those guys, and they show me that you can do it as long as you want to, as long as you stay dedicated. And then I take that upon myself. I get that from the kids, the 20-year-olds. They're like, oh, you're 44. Like, I get to be that light for them, which is hilarious because I'm only 44. But they see
But to
me
them, you're an older guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do it until my 40s. I'm like, that's awesome. I love
Do it
that.
into your 70s.
Do it into your 70s.
That's what I'm planning on doing.
That's right.
And more studies are showing it's not so much the physiological effects of aging, it's the fact that people just stop training.
Yep.
Like I saw a wild
It's
stat
marginal.
that like 90% of people never sprint again after the age of like 25 or something.
Right? Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, and then I saw another study where it was like an open track meet and like a high school kid ran the mile in like 4:12, which is blazing, right?
Yeah.
But then there was like a 58-year-old that ran it in like 4:30.
Yes, I saw
and it's
that.
like,
It's amazing.
like, and then those
You can
numbers
do
are off,
it.
but it is something like that. Yeah. And it's one of those things that's like, because as I'm sure you know, as most people in the industry know, like you start to lose power before you lose strength.
Yes.
But it's like because people stop training power. People stop jumping. People stop throwing med balls. People stop swinging kettlebells.
Yep.
And it's like, no, if you continue to train that, studies are showing you will retain that until like, I think 70 was kind of the marker.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now 70, you start to
Well,
see some
even
physiological
that
effect.
we don't know now because we have all the peptides and the
I know.
testosterone. It's like we may be changing everything. Everything we know. We'll be able to do this and stay fit until 100. Like who knows? We don't know, but we're going to find out. It's getting to that point.
Oh, for sure. I'm very curious to see what's going to become of the legalities of stem cells in the U.S.
Oh God, they need to.
I know, especially because you go to a place like BioAccelerator in Colombia, and I know there's obviously other big names out there,
CPI.
Panama, and I think there's a big one in Tijuana.
Yes, that's the Tijuana one. Yeah. I
think that doctor came from BioAccelerator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they all went down to other countries to avoid the legal prosecution.
But it's ethically harvested. So they take
From
them
your
from the
own body,
umbilical
right?
cord.
Oh, that's right.
From the umbilical cord of mothers giving birth. And in Colombia, it's like a program that they sign up for.
Yeah.
And the clinic at BioAccelerator, I think you can like see all of this going on. Like they give you tours and
that science is there.
BioAccelerator sounds amazing. I've known a couple of people that have gone. I have a buddy that used to work for them. But it's like they can do so much more. I don't know. I'm going to throw out like a skew of numbers. These are not accurate, but like it's a.
Don't quote me.
Yeah, don't quote me on this. But like here, say you go to Waste Well, who they are doing stem cells. Say they can give you an injection of 3,000 living stem cells. Mm-hmm. In Colombia, they can do 1 million.
Yeah.
And it's like there's just so much more they can do. And then you're doing hyperbaric chambers, you're doing NAD with it. Like they are really maximizing, optimizing the potential of those stem cells. And you're starting to see like BioAccelerator shows a video of a guy. He was a X Games athlete, wrecked his bike and was, I believe, a quadriplegic.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they're like showing him like starting to get movement back.
Yeah.
And it's like, why aren't we doing this?
Why aren't we doing it?
Yeah, especially because it's ethically harvested. Now, back in the day, I remember when I first, and South Park did an episode of like stem cells.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were saying it was from like aborted fetuses, which is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But when you're saying it's ethically harvested and it's coming from umbilical cords, it's not hurting anybody. It's just
the black markets will happen. We got to be honest, that probably does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, but we try to, I think the good outweighs the bad in this situation.
Agreed. And especially once like you have a company like BioAccelerator or all the other ones that are doing it properly, it's like they're making sure that their stem cells are coming from the best sources. That's what we need. Like as much as we need deregulation for what we can do in the States, we still need regulation on what we're doing and where they're coming from.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't want
it's always
backstreet stem cells.
You almost, you're going to get collateral damage. There's always, no matter what you do, you can't get rid of everything that's bad. It's shrink in retail. Like you're going to have shrink.
It's going to happen.
Every industry has shrink. We mitigate shrink, but we realize that it's there.
Yeah.
And stem cells are a net positive. In my opinion, I think that we should be doing more of it here. We should be researching it. We should be getting it in the hands of the millionaires that are going to put the money in investment in the R&D and make it great because,
brig them.
Exactly. We need those types of people doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's only to the benefit of this country. We're going to,
For sure.
well, the irony too is that the age demographic changing, that we're not having as many children. We're going to need men to be doing these laborious jobs older, which, I mean, it's crazy, the whole thing, but we need people to be living longer. We need people to be healthier longer, especially for our medical, insurance.
Yeah.
We need stem cells, and I don't understand why we can't get that here.
I can't wait till I can afford them. I'm like, man, my shoulder's going to feel so good one day.
Yes.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen, it's kind of floating around the internet now. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times over the last week, but it's like a full body x-ray of, I believe, Travis Pastrana.
Oh God, the guy's full of metal.
Dude, yeah, the guy's like RoboCop.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like everywhere. And I forget the number, but they talk about the number of surgeries he's had.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's like both femurs, both hips, collarbone, both humerus. Is like
the
it's
guy
like
must not have any pain reception. Like how you keep getting on and doing it.
What was the
crazy.
Bruce Willis movie? Unbreakable.
Yeah,
he just doesn't feel anything. Yeah.
He's got SEPA. Like that's crazy. He doesn't feel any pain. Like I don't know how he does it mentally. The guy's a beast. Man.
Yeah. Speaking of significant injuries, let's talk about your powerlifting transition into a hybrid athlete. Which, by the way, I hate that term. Hybrid athlete.
Yeah.
You're just an athlete. If you can lift, run, and do something athletic, you're just an athlete.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing all that, then you're a lifter.
Yes.
But if you can combine all those things, like you're not a hybrid athlete. You're just athlete.
It's really for egos, I think. It took people that were bodybuilders and are like, I want to run now, but I'm not a great runner and I'm not a great bodybuilder. So you put yourself on a pedestal. I'm a hybrid, which it's fine. I'm not for shitting on anybody. And it's fine. It's just a term.
Poke in there.
But it is funny. It's got so controversial. Hybrid athlete. Like, okay, I'm a runner and I don't consider myself a hybrid because I'm not good at running yet. I'm getting there. I was a good power lifter. I spent about a good 5 years powerlifting. Mm-hmm. And so I worked with a company called Iron Rebel and Granite Supplements with John Meadows and one of my good friends, Ed Koo. They invited me to work with Iron Rebel because I was in powerlifting world, right? And so I was doing the powerlifting on the internet and doing the powerlifting competing. And I did that for about 5 years. And in 2015, I had a major accident. I squatted 440 pounds and I benched 340. But during the bench press, I popped 3 discs, herniated.
Bench press?
Bench press, yeah. I was holding the arch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was probably because the muscles in my back were already weak from a 440 squat. Was really pressing my limits at that point. And I was only 180 pounds. So I was really pressing the numbers. I was almost making worlds. I would have need, I think, a 480 deadlift to make worlds that year or something. But anyways, I blew those discs out. So prior to that, 3 months earlier, I actually had a root canal and I had my wisdom teeth pulled. So I had this major infection in my face. Well, after I blew those discs, my back got really bad, like really bad to the point where I tried to lift through it and I couldn't. Fast forward 2 years later, I was disabled. I couldn't walk. I was being pushed in a wheelchair. I was on tons of pain meds. I'm
full Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah. It was really, really bad. Yeah. And it took about 2.5 years to realize that what I had was an infection. So the discs, the degenerated disc, the bacteria stays in your body. It can I actually figured out because I found out you can have heart attacks from the infection staying from your mouth.
No shit.
And then I said, wow, there's a connection there. And so I started looking up and find that there was a little bit of science that said that infection, that bacteria that creates cavities in your teeth can get inside your discs. And then when it proliferates, it releases that same acid. And so it was deteriorating my vertebrae. Whoa. And so this was at the time was still kind of like fringe science. So the doctors, I saw like 3 or 4 surgeons and they didn't know about it. So I started taking antibiotics, right? And all of a sudden some of the pain started receding. Fast forward again, it took another 3 years to all the damage that was done and everything was going on. From about 2015, I was injured. I didn't start getting better until about 2020. I moved to Texas. I was using fentanyl patches. I was using tons of Percocet. I was going through hell all the time. And it goes through a time for anybody that's used pain medication. You get addicted to the pain medication, but you're not sure if it's the pain or if it's pain medication. And you get to the point where you start to lose hope too. You're like, this is my life.
I can't imagine.
I can't, I don't think I'm ever going to get better, right? And so it starts out where when they give you pain medication, they tell you take it to mitigate some of the pain so you can go about your daily activity, right? But when you're talking about a year and 2 years, you get to the point where I just want to experience a day without pain, right? Yeah. And so you start taking more. And then you start to take more because it starts to build up a tolerance. And so I was at that point where I was wearing multiple patches and I was taking handfuls of Percocets.
Do you OD from fentanyl patches?
So there's a lot of controversy. So what happens is opiates will not allow you to sleep when you take a lot in some people's brains. And so they actually will take benzos to sleep. Yeah. And it's usually the combination of Percocet and benzos or fentanyl patches. Those two, they will kill you. They'll cause your lungs to shut off and you'll die in your sleep. Yeah. But most people that die that way, that's what it's from. Okay. It's a little bit harder to overdose from opiates because you'll vomit them out. Your body goes, oh, is this poison? And tries to get rid of them. But the patches are really, really small. But I was layering on patches and they're time release, so like 72 hour. But the point being is that I was really addicted
Yeah.
to pain medication. You get to the point where you're like, you want to, I would always draw that line, like not to go over into heroin and stuff, but I was right there, man. And every day was a battle. Every day was a battle of take medication, feel depressed because you can't do the things that you love to do. You're in a lot of pain and you're trying to I was trying to put on a good face for my family and my kids, trying not to let them know that
How old were your kids at this time?
Let's see, 2015. They were really young.
Okay.
So my little one was 3 and my older one was 6 when this started.
Okay.
And then, they were about, when we moved out here, about 10, 12 years old. But it's funny, they look back now and they don't remember. Sure. They're like, we knew your back was bad. We didn't know it was that bad, Dad. Yeah. It's like, I was on a lot of pain meds and I was trying to mask everything.
Good for you for being like open with them about that.
Yeah. I, probably too open. My wife thinks I'm too open with my kids sometimes, but I think it's important to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And they're good kids. They listen and they're like, okay.
Yeah, they need to see Dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's good. You enjoy being Superman as dad, but also to know that, hey, I'm not perfect.
They don't need a facade.
You don't, exactly. You don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be real and authentic and be myself. And, you got to draw some lines somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is one as I told them, I was like, I was on too much medication and this stuff can be very dangerous, especially you mix alcohol in there. And I never thought I was going to get better. I was in a bad place using all this medication. And then in 2020, we moved to Texas and I had a really bad emergency. I had to go to the hospital. I don't know what it was. I was just in overload pain, like just the worst possible pain. It was actually my in-laws. They called 911 and brought him in because I didn't want to call the emergency room. I didn't want him to come, my ego, but I was in such bad pain, just everywhere, my whole body. And then after that, I got out of the ER. All of a sudden I started healing. It was like, I don't know, it was like a reset.
Yeah.
And I started getting better. And I started moving. That's when I started working on the golf course. And I started going out there, started hitting balls. It was a spinal injury. It was my lumbar. It was my L3 and my S1 that was all messed up. So I started turning on my spine and slowly started getting better. Slowly got back into the gym and slowly started transitioning. And at the time, I didn't really understand why, it felt like a miracle. And it's like, all of a sudden I started getting better. So I started taking advantage of it. Finally got off the pain medication, which was a godsend for my wife and my kids. I got off the pain medication.
And for you.
Yeah, for me,
yeah,
absolutely.
Don't forget you.
yeah, for me. But it was a big change.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things was that first year when you get off pain medication, everything's gray. Everything is bad. The things you like to do are not fun. It's almost like your brain runs out of dopamine or serotonin.
Psychological effect,
it's like psychological effects. I used to like playing video games or like doing stuff. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of getting over these pain meds is that everything's great, nothing's fun. And you use those pain meds in place of that. Yeah. But after about a year, I started getting through that. I started getting better. I started golfing all the time. I started getting better. And I was like, man, this is crazy, like a miracle. I started getting better. And like I told you, that's when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. He had stage 4 prostate cancer, metastasized his whole body. And then that's when it kind of like clicked. Life does that thing, gives you a miracle. And it was a miracle for me because then I could hold this thing on my shoulders, which was for my family, which was my dad at 62, just deteriorating bad. But I started to get better and I started to get in shape. And in 2023, my dad had just passed away in 2022 at the end of the year. That's when I was like, I need to compete again and I need to do something hard and I need to not, waste my life, just piddling about. Yeah. And then in 2023, I started running and, Matt Johnson, everybody kind of knows Matt Johnson here. Before he was a huge rock star, he started a run club at Squatch Fitness and he invited me out and I came out and I started running. And then Coach Bray, he's one of the group leaders down at Squatch. He's like, there's this thing called HYROX. You should start doing it. And I started doing that. And it gave me a place and it gave me a purpose and it gave me a community. And that's when I really got into that hybrid mentality, and to be honest, it took me away from the lifting, the gym bro splits, all that stuff. And it put me into something I was really uncomfortable with. And that was running, but I loved it. Yeah. And I knew I needed purpose and I wanted to compete and it gave me a community. And I really fell in love with that. And then now here I am, in my 3rd season of HYROX, going into my junior season, hoping to really push my times and have this goal. And whether I do something or not, it's been a ride. And
why not though?
You look back and you're like, this is like the Truman Show. My life is so weird. All the crazy stuff I've been through. I look back and when my ex-wife and that drug addiction, it doesn't feel real anymore. It looks like a movie. Yeah. And then I destroy my back and go through this crazy pain problem and back problem. And now it's starting to become like a movie again. Like it just doesn't feel real. Like this is my life right now. And so that's, the message to everybody out there is that, the future is real. It's going to come. Keep hope. You can push through anything. You just got to go day at a time. And I think that's important for people. I get people to talk to me all the time like, man, your story's impactful. And I'm like, sometimes it feels cringy to continue to talk about. Yeah. But when people come to me and tell me, hey, your story is important, that it's meaningful and it helps me push forward. It helps me to continue to talk about it. But man, I lived through hell. Yeah. And I've gotten to know a lot of people that have gone through back problems like Sean Livingston, gone through drug problems. And they almost always have the same outlook on life. And they're just like super grateful to be alive. And there's this connection when you go through that type of thing where it's just so hard and it brings you to, the pits of hell. And when you come out of it and you live through it, you're so grateful for life.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
And I feel now like nothing could, what could you do to me? Like, I'm just going to make it. I'm going to push through. And there's always hope for the future.
Yeah, there's nothing that can stop me now.
There's nothing that can stop me. And I brought this too to show off because I get it all the time. I keep this in my car. Like I don't use it, but
it's obviously expired.
It's expired. But the point being is that was real. They don't just give these things away in California. Right. I went through I'm
sure I have to go through a pretty strenuous process.
Pretty strenuous. Yeah. I went through I think 8 of the red ones, the temporary ones. And the doctor was finally like, I'm not sure you're going to get better. I had seen multiple surgeons and they gave me this.
Did you ever have surgery?
No, they have lots of stories of seeing surgeons. I remember one in particular, I saw a surgeon. I went in, he was a dick. He was just a big asshole. He's like, nope, I'm not going to do surgery. I left the room bawling. I was crying. I remember that day so vividly because I wanted to end my life that day. Yeah. I walked out and I was crying and I was praying. I was just like,
it's tough.
It's so hard. I thought, this is just never going to get better. These surgeons, they won't do surgery. Now I look back and I'm grateful he didn't do surgery because I didn't need it.
Yeah. There was a reason for it.
There was a reason for it. And, and there was only a few days between that point where I wanted to take my life. And I was, my lows that I had found information on infections in the back. And I started using antibiotics to heal my back problems, like a couple days. And it was just like, not a coincidence.
Yeah.
I believe in an intelligent creator. I believe in a God.
Yeah.
And I think some of this stuff is to show us, to give us power and give us strength. And this was one of those times where it was like, man, that was crazy. I was ready to end my life here. And then I just kept on pushing. I just kept on reading as much as I could. Yeah. And I found this thing that eventually led to me getting better.
Yeah. When you have those realizations of why you went through your darkest moments, it really helps you going forward.
Yes.
Because for myself, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but because I've spent the first 25 episodes of this podcast talking about it.
Yeah.
But I've been through shit. I was homeless as a kid. My dad passed away in my arms when I was 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about that. I did CPR on my dad. No one should ever have to do that.
No, absolutely.
And especially at 21, I was at the age where I feel like I was learning how to be a man.
Yes.
And the man in my life disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was one of those things where being able to see the lessons in those hardships has really helped me going forward of okay, well, why am I going through this now? Or why am I going through this now? There's something here that I need to keep fighting through. Yes. Because again, I had moments too where I was like, it would be so much easier to end it than to keep going.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people come across that. And that was the whole reason why I wanted to start the podcast.
Yes.
I was like, I need to get my story out there. I need to get other people's stories out there because everyone's going through it.
Yep.
Especially nowadays, everyone's going through it.
We need hope.
Yeah, we need hope.
And you need people make it through.
Again, I am very religious myself. And I never push my religion on anybody, but I'll die on that hill for sure.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I know, I was home from college baseball when my dad passed away and I quit playing college baseball after that, but I was the only, my little sister was home that day too, but she wasn't in the room when he was having a heart attack. Man. And, but it sucked because I had to have her call 911. I had to have her phone and talk to the 911 operators.
Jump into the deep end.
Dude, it was 2 days before her 13th birthday. She was supposed to have a birthday party that night.
That's the worst age too.
Yeah, she's supposed to have a birthday party that night. It was a Friday. And
I know why. We're resilient.
Yeah.
You take something like that's the worst moment in anybody's life, and where you are now, we are resilient.
I know why I went through it though. Exactly. I with my confidence in God, I know that I was there for a reason that day. I love all my siblings. I will, you can ask any of my friends, I will die for my family.
Yeah.
But had any of my older siblings been there that day, I think they would have OD'd by now.
Yeah.
Because
I get that.
Everyone in my family has had issues at one time or another.
Yeah.
And
it's so heavy. It's such a burden.
And it's like
why were you the one there?
Yeah. I had the shoulders to bear that load.
Yep.
And it took me a while to learn that lesson, but it's a lesson you learn, and it's something that like
the same thing.
Makes you stronger moving forward. And also, like you said, everyone that goes through that, they're so grateful for the life they have now.
Grateful, man.
Dude, like talking about how it was 10 years ago from when I separated with my ex-wife, and talking about like where I am now versus then. I had times where I was like sleeping on a buddy's couch, and I'd park my car in the back of his apartment complex so I wouldn't get towed.
I slept on the ground for a long time too.
The night that my wife and I separated, I slept in my car in my mom's driveway. I was like, because I was too embarrassed to go inside. I was too embarrassed to go inside my mom's house.
Our backgrounds are so similar. Yeah,
dude,
a lot of that stuff.
I can't do this
but
right now.
You know, I think when you see people that have power and have stuff that haven't gone through hard things, they take it for granted.
Yeah.
And they have this attitude like, oh, I don't need you, you need me, and this attitude. But when you have people that have gone through like real hardship in their life, and then they get stuff, they want to give it away.
Oh, yeah.
Like so grateful. Like you could be the biggest jerk and dick to everybody because you have stuff, but you're not. Yeah. You want to give what you have away. And that's the difference. This is grateful for life. My wife's like, you can't become a multimillionaire because you give it all away. And you're like, yeah, I probably would. Yeah. I just want to do everything for everybody.
I'd tithe 10% of that.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Die with zero. Like I want everybody to be able to, and that's what I like to do now with like our groups like Men in the Arenas, like give as much back as I can. People ask, what do you want? I'm like, I just want to make other people's lives better.
Yeah.
I want to be a light. I want to be something that people look upon and go, hey, I want to achieve that. I want to be that. I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm just a guy that's enjoying his life and have reached a place where I'm satisfied. And I want more, but I want to give it away.
Yeah.
But I love my life. Like and I want to help other people get there.
Same.
And we could talk all day on that subject, but I think being a light in other people's lives, just not telling people what to do, but just being there, being a rock, being there, letting them see.
I say it all the time. Like I try to be the person I wish I had.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because, and don't get me wrong, like I've had good mentors, not until later in life. Like after 30, I had 2 good coach mentors. Mm-hmm. But man, going through my 20s, especially like, kind of like you're talking about when you're getting off pain pills, like life was just great.
Yeah,
Dude, my 20s were great because I was married. And that was like, I think I was still in shock from my dad passing.
Yeah.
And I just never dealt with it. Like I got married within a year after.
Too much responsibility.
Yeah, dude. Or not married, but I met my now ex-wife within a year after.
You're trauma bonding. You're looking for somebody else to
and I didn't even tell her about it for a long time. Wow. She's like, I didn't want to ask. I just thought your dad wasn't in the picture.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like,
why would you want to talk about it? Yeah. At that age.
She's like, I noticed your dad wasn't around. She was 21. I was 23 when we met.
Your kids.
Right.
It's weird getting older. You look back and your kids, I'm sorry, you're 21. Yeah. The state says you're an adult, but no. Wait till you get older. You're a child. You're so young. And it's not meant in a derogatory way, not in a bad way.
No.
You realize as you get older, you're so young.
Especially like me taking the path of college athlete.
Yeah.
I got to be a kid. I got to play a boy sport for 3 more years longer than a lot of people get to.
Yeah.
And it prevented me from having to like get into the work field. Yeah. And like I didn't go join the military right out of high school because I went to go play baseball.
You know, it's funny is I always thought that was so stupid to go join them. I don't know why, but when I was younger, I thought that was dumb. Now I look back and go, man, those guys were smart. Like they got such good structure. They got to be a part of the community.
They got like college. They got,
And it's so strong that when they get out, they miss it.
Yep.
They miss it greatly and they look for it because it's such a strong thing.
I think that's like the locker room culture.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's you ask any former athlete, like what do you miss most? You've retired from baseball. What do you miss most? I miss the boys.
Yeah.
I miss the guys. Like, and that's, I do get a lot of that from military folks that I talk to. And you know what's funny? I had the same kind of outlook because I grew up in such a small hick town that like you only joined the military because you had nothing else to do.
Yeah. And then that's how I saw it too.
Yeah. And now, like, I mean, my ex-wife, we didn't separate on any bad terms by any means. I was kind of talking about that off camera beforehand. And like I have nothing but like the utmost respect for her and her family, but the dad was former Vietnam.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew about Vietnam was like what I saw in Forrest Gump and King of the Hill. Yeah. And in King of the Hill, they always kind of like talk shit about like Vietnam vets. And then like I used to go to these Vietnam reunions with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, these men are amazing.
Yes.
And like they went through shit at 17, 18, 19 years old that like we couldn't handle. I remember telling, there's a General Funk, he was up in Killeen, like a 3-star, 4-star general. And I met him and like everyone was kind of like, this guy's a deal.
Yeah.
And I went up and talked to him. I think he was telling me how, you know, what age he was when he went to Vietnam. And I was like, man, I don't know if I could have done that at 19.
No.
He's like, son, you're American.
You would have done it. Yeah. You're probably right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I can do anything.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things.
I have the same guy that was working on the golf course. Same thing. His name was Butch. Just hard as nails. Just, I loved him. And he loved me because he knew I had a hard life.
Yeah.
And we bonded over that. But yeah, the stories, you're just like,
So wild.
man, just brutal.
Yeah.
The things he put
bullet wounds and stuff. I'm like, God.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy. And then they have a lot of them have that same attitude. Like life is, I'm not at war. Like you have no idea how good it is. Some of them, they step over that line and they lose themselves to that trauma. But
that's just tough.
Yeah.
I think back on my grandpa, because he's a World War II vet.
Yeah.
And I hear stories that like my mom or my aunts, uncles have told me. And it's like one of those things where it's like, you could be like, man, he was a bad guy. But it's like, no, he just didn't have the tools to deal with the awful things he saw and did. Like
didn't have those
they
mentors.
were forced to do. I mean, he forged his paperwork. I think he went in at 17. And I mean, you're talking
you can't imagine killing people at 18, like shooting. Yeah.
And it's like one of those things, like, again, he just didn't have the tools to like acclimate back to real life. So of course he's going to be a shitty person.
Yeah.
But you know what? To me, he was always nice. You know? He always called me Muscles.
Well,
like
we need those. I love that. Yeah. We need those mentors. It's like going back to what we were talking about. We need those people to help us. And when we don't have, it takes so much longer to get there. And we need those mentors. We need those people that are out there. And that's part of why I like being out there with the younger kids. I'm sure you're the same way. You know, you get to talk to these kids at Correct Fitness.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of why I like being there. Like,
the community is phenomenal.
And I'm sure they're 20 years, they're looking at, what are you doing?
Yeah, what do you fucking know?
40, like, what do you know? And that's okay. That's okay.
It's okay. And it's one of the things, like, anytime we bring in like a young coach, we have several younger coaches like John Sandoval, Gino.
Sandoval's fantastic.
Yeah, they're great coaches. But when they came in, like, I very much told them that because I was there. Like if they needed something, I was in the ear for them to talk to.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would tell, especially like Gino, he's a guy that when he first came in, I want to say he was like in his mid 20s, maybe 25, 24, 26, somewhere around there. And he'd be like, man, I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, brother.
Nobody does.
First of all, like, I don't have shit figured out, but I didn't start to figure it out until I was 28.
Yeah. I was 40.
Like,
so
yeah, right, exactly. It's like, no, like, and because I didn't have that. Like I said, unfortunately, my dad had passed away, and he was a wild man in my young years. You know, a Colombian living in LA in the early 90s.
Oh,
you can only
I'm
assume,
sure.
Right? I've told those stories before, but he very much became a man that I admired and respected because he turned his life around. He very much like he was never far from his faith, but in the early mid 90s growing up, like you would have guessed differently.
Yeah.
But he became a man that like when we moved out of California, and that was one of the big reasons why we moved out of California. My parents just did not want to raise us in Baldwin Park in the mid 90s.
No.
And
those scary areas
and like low income areas. And my dad was just
you are who you surround yourself with.
Yes. And so my mom's like, no, we can't raise our kids here. So again, my dad, it took him a while, but he very much became someone that like I admired and respected. And like when I was really becoming like, all right, like this is like I truly enjoy my dad. He passed away.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we need that. You know, with my kids, I tell them all the time that I'm not trying to tell you what to do, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bridge the gap for you to figure it out faster than I did. Yeah. And that's something I always say to them, hey, you know, I know you guys aren't going to get this. I understand that this is above your head. I get that. What I'm trying to do is bridge that gap so you get there sooner. And I have that conversation all the time to the point where they're tired of it. But I want them to keep those frameworks in their head and remember
that's something that'll stick with them forever.
Exactly. And then eventually one day it's going to click and they're like,
this is what he meant.
That's what he meant. And that's the way I try to parent my kids is, you know, and I think mentors should be doing that for I know you're not going to get this. You're 21. You're not going to understand, but I'm trying to bridge the gap for you.
Yeah.
You're going to figure it out. It's just how long is it going to take? Can you avoid some heartache and some pitfalls?
Yeah.
But having those male mentors, I've had a few over the years that I feel lucky to have been around and they changed my life. And one of those guys was my dad and his work ethic. You know, before he passed, he had stage 4 cancer, bone cancer, you know, it metastasized. He was in so much pain. He was still working.
No shit.
He was a handyman. He moved to Texas and he was a tile contractor. All he knew was hard work, masonry, tiles. Like I grew up setting tile with my dad, doing construction, like hard physical labor. You know, the guy's got stage 4 prostate cancer, it metastasized his whole body, and he was still working. And I look at that and I go, man, if he can do that, I can do anything. Sure. Like it's not that hard. Life's not that hard. Like it could be hard. And you need those people to look up to. Yeah, it could be real terrible.
Yeah, like I said, I had, I can honestly say I've only ever had like one truly good baseball coach in my whole life, where he was like, not only made us better baseball players, but like made us better men. His name was Marty Moore. His son, Matt Moore, pitched in the big league for, I think, 10, 11 years. But the oldest son, Bobby Moore, like you could tell that these were like lessons that like he'd passed down, because at 18, when Bobby was a senior and I was a sophomore, Bobby was a man already.
Yeah.
And he's someone like, I have nothing but good things and like high regards for Bobby Moore and Matt Moore and the dad, Marty Moore. Just phenomenal people. So that was like a guy that like, this is while my dad was still around. Him and my dad got along pretty well. That I was like, that's a good man.
That's who I want to be.
Yeah. That's like, he made a huge impact on my life. But like having a good mentor, like moving past that, like, 'cause I didn't really have one until I was over 30.
Yeah. That's why it takes so long sometimes. Yeah. But then that's also why I like doing that for other men. You know, I have a group of men.
It's important, man.
You know, one or two guys, three guys that'll always reach out and go, hey, I need to talk or whatever. And I always put that out there with all the guys. Like, hey, message me. I'm always going to reply. I'm always going to give you some type of advice, or maybe you just need an ear. Yeah. But I think it's important for men, and we think we've gotten away from that, you know, with this stereotypes of fathers being bumbleheaded idiots, you know, through the 90s. And now we're fighting back against that. And we're saying like, dads don't need to be that way. They can be strong and masculine. Yeah. And so there's still a lot of young men that don't have father figures or don't have mentors and don't have anybody to look up to. Yeah. And so I try to do that as much as I can. And I continue to stretch and grow for myself to do that with other people. But, you know, going through the hardships of drug abuse and then pain, like I have a pretty broad base.
You've been through it
to mentor and to help. And as a father, you know, that's one of the ones I enjoy doing that with young fathers. You know, like, how can I help you?
That's so important.
And especially, it's not always the kids. It's a lot of the times it's a relationship with your wife that can get so strained and so hard. And me and my wife, we went through those tough times and tried to figure it out. There's no manual. You're going to get it wrong. And I'm just lucky my wife was very forgiving because I'm an idiot. Yeah. And we figured it, but I was always willing to figure it out. I was willing to change and willing to get better.
Willing to admit you're an idiot.
Exactly. Yeah. And it goes both ways. I'm just a bigger idiot than she was. But now
to be that way.
Yeah. Now it's been 18 years. It's crazy to even say that. I have a 16-year-old. We've been married 18 years. So I have all this knowledge that I love to be able to help out and give back. And while it's not perfect, you know, it gives somebody the opportunity to talk and say, hey, you know, how did you fix this problem? Yeah. I love being able to do that because I didn't always have that, you know, especially now with my dad passing away so young. I feel like I want to take more of that role on and doing things like Men in the Arena, where we have a men's group, we get to do that. But I think it's important if there are guys out there that are listening, you know, and you don't have a mentor, you should. If it's a trainer or it's community, you know, find people. That way you don't have to wait till 40 to grow up.
And that's kind of like, you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like find someone that has what you want, or they're doing what you're doing, or what you want to be doing. Learn from them. And that's a revelation I've had recently. I'm 38. And like I have buddies that are like, hey man, you want to come over and hang out? And we'll just play, like watch a movie or play video games. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then one of my my good friend that I was speaking about earlier, Catherine, she's like, you realize how unattractive that is, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. She's like you should be like hanging out with guys that are like gonna.
You need a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both for sure. Yeah. And she also pointed that out. She's like, yeah, you play video games occasionally, whatever, that's fine. But she was like, find someone that like you want to emulate. Like they're doing what you want, what you're doing, or they have something you want, like, and see how they got there.
Exactly.
And like ask them that. And so I've been doing that more recently and like getting into more like men's group things.
Well, you have to come out to the Men in the Arena too.
Yeah. I would love to get some more info on that. And we'll also put it out there for the people listening and watching. But do you know Brooklyn at that gym?
Probably. I'm not great with names.
Probably. Yeah, she's one of our few female coaches. She looks like she's 17.
So. Yes, no, I know. I do know who you're talking about.
She's dynamic.
I know who you're. I've seen her on IG. Yeah.
She's phenomenal. A very, very good coach.
Yeah.
But she hit me up the other day. She's like, hey, I have a close family friend. They want their son to start training as a football player.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, perfect. She's like, I'm recommending him to you because they want him to train with a good male role model. Yeah. And I was like,
yes, the feels.
Like, Brooklyn.
Yes, thank you.
That's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. Yeah,
that's what you do it for. That's
absolutely.
It right there.
I was so flattered and just so taken aback. I was like, holy shit, like you think I'm more than just a good coach.
Yes.
And that's what exactly. I want to be seen as a good man. Like I want to be seen as someone that's reliable and trustable and doing the right things because I'm trying. I'm trying and we're all trying. But sometimes it just doesn't come across that way.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I go to practices with my kids, my boys, and do BJJ and get out there and roll on the mats. It's like, I do it for them. You know, that's the first and foremost, but I also do it because there are a lot of men out there that are not sure how to to father and parent.
Yeah.
And I like setting that role model. Like, I'm here for my kids no matter what.
Yeah.
They're the priority. You know, I do all these different things, but they're all part-time, and I will give them all up to be there with my boys. And I like being that role model as well. Like, you know, there are fathers that are, and they're not a lot, but I'm at every practice. I'm at everything they do. I'm going to be there. And I tell them that all the time, going to be there. And it's for them, but also for all the other guys to see, you know, that's the kind of dad that I want to be.
Yeah.
And you know, it feels weird sometimes patting myself on the back. Like, I really don't like that, but I
don't have the shoulder mobility.
I'm stiff. But I think it needs to be said. Like, that's part of what I do and why I do is like to be that role model for other men. You know, be a father, be a strong father, be involved in their lives. We need more of that in the world. We need a lot more of that. And we're seeing it. You know, some of the men that I'm around have little ones. And they always tell me, hey, you know, I look up to the things you're doing involved in your life, because it can feel emasculating to be that kind of father. But I think it's very important, and men need this. And we're changing the world, just ripples where we are, and it's butterfly effect, and it's cascading. And I think the next generation is going to be better off for it.
Yeah, well, you're starting to see more and more men like you, and I don't dare lump myself into that group, but Aubrey Marcus talked about it a lot. Like, you got to be the hero of your own story.
Yes.
Like, be the hero of your own story. You got to, like, I use this analogy all the time. When they tell you on an airplane, when the air mask drops,
that's it.
Put your mask on first, then help the person next to you. Get your life in track, and then lead by example.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the more and more we see of that, like, the better off, you know, society is going to be. And there's so much more work to do, but it starts with you. It starts with your family. It starts with your kids.
That's right.
Yeah, it's.
I started a journey of fitness 15 years ago, and while I've had my ups and downs, I've stayed consistent. Had my kids 16 years ago, stayed consistent. Like, I have ADHD in a lot of places, but those are the two places that I've stayed committed to and been consistent with my wife and my kids and my fitness, because those are what I deem the most valuable things. Yeah. And that's what I want to tell everybody. You know, make those things the pillar of your life, and you're gonna have a good life. Everything else is just noise.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. I think that's let's tell the people where to find Men in the Arena, and then where to find you online. And
my name, Eric Bumpus 17. I'm on IG. I do coach a little bit, but right now I'm a little bit of a slow period because I'm getting into HYROX, man. Yes. And I'm really putting all my eggs in that basket. I really want to compete. So I'm slowing down in the coaching right now, but do lots of content on that same channel. Men in the Arena is Squatch every other Friday. You can find Men in the Arena on IG and on Squatch or on mine. Come say hi. I talk to everybody.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm honored just to be able to be a part of this and tell my story. So thank you. I hope we can do it again. This was awesome.
Yeah, that's again, the whole reason for the Lions Pit is what's the line you're pursuing that most people would have ran away from? Like, that is the premise behind this podcast.
Yeah, and I have a lot of them. But yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Well, again, I greatly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Of course, man. We'll have to run it back after you get 3 more HYROX.
Yeah, let's do it after Phoenix. That's right. We'll do it next year. I love it.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Lions Pit podcast. Again, I am your host, Nick Gomez. With me today, Eric Bumpus. Shout out to correctlife.com. That is Aubrey Marcus's new supplement. That is correct with a K. Give them a shout. They have electrolytes, ketones, their new supplement, and then they also have the energy and focus. So check those out. And then also shout out to Set. That is getset.co, a new nicotine alternative pouch. I have one in currently. Love these things. If you're having trouble getting off nicotine, this will definitely help with the crash. You don't have the big ups and downs that you'll have with nicotine, and also way healthier for you. So shout out to them as well. Again, this is the Lions Pit podcast. Don't forget to tune in next time.